everybody, man. It's your boy JK, man. Today's Thursday, so you already know what it is. It's Taco Thursday with JK live on IG. And anytime I'm just on IG, that means I got a special guest. And today's no different. Today, my guest hails from Florida. She got roots in Baltimore. She got roots in New York. She got roots in Cali. She all over. You might know her as a musical artist with music featured on Insecure. You might know her as a director with films on Netflix, YouTube originals. You might know her as the club queen if you out there and be more, right? I know her as Big Cuz, as T. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for my special guest, TT, the artist. There you go. What up, Cuz?
Hey, what's up?
What's up? How you doing?
Great. Wow, that was I gotta get you to introduce me for everything.
Hey, Cuz, just tell me. Just tell me I'm there. I promise you I'm there.
You
Hey,
gotta record that. I need that. Drop that every
n-
show.
hey, definitely. I can do that for you, Cuz. I can do that, though. But how you doing? You doing good?
I'm great. I'm great. It's good to be here. Feeling good, live, wealthy, healthy.
Definitely, definitely. Well. First, I just want to say thank you for taking the time out to come on and bless my podcast. I really appreciate it. I don't take your time for granted. I know you are a busy lady, and so I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome, of course. We family. So anytime I got you. You gotta hold it down. Doing
Nah,
big things
definitely,
out
definitely,
here.
definitely, and I appreciate it. It means a lot. It means a lot, right? And so, man, with that being said, I just want to give you opportunity just to introduce yourself. Tell the people about who you are, what you do, some of the things you do.
What's up, world? My name is TT the artist. I am Rad, the rapper, artist, director, and born and raised in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. About my creative voice in Baltimore City. Shout out to Baltimore, and now I'm in LA. Pursuing my career in music and filmmaking, and it's been quite a journey, and I'm super excited to just maybe motivate you guys a little bit tonight and be talking about some great uplifting things to boost y'all for the rest of the week and weekend.
Nah, definitely, definitely, because it's what's crazy is like we don't know like what we do, when we're away from home, how what we do away from home, like it echoes back home, right? And being younger than you, everything you was doing was echoing back to the crib, like to Auntie Jennifer, and then Auntie Jennifer to my mama, and then from my mama to my ears, right? And so every episode, whether I got a guest or not, I tackle a topic. And so anytime I have a guest, I try to align the topic with the guest. And so today the topic we tackling is I see bigger, right? And just being younger than you and watching you from afar and seeing how you grind it and how you persevere, I was like, cuz like really had to have a bigger vision. Like she had to see bigger or see herself bigger than where she was. And so could you talk, what I'm saying, about that a little bit, like how important it was and it is now to always dream big and just see yourself being more or bigger than maybe where you might be at that time.
Absolutely. I mean, I always tell people, and even now, a lot of times they ask that question, what would you tell your younger self? But
Mm-hmm.
I think that what people may forget is that you not only dream big, but your dream evolves as
Mm-hmm.
you grow, as
Yeah.
you travel, as you meet new people. You learn more about yourself. You learn about the things that you're really passionate about. Like when I was 18, I was like, I want to be a famous rapper. Like I just wanted to be the new famous rapper. And, I just was like, that kind of changed and pivoted more because even what a rapper was or a hip hop artist was back then was a little different than what it is now. So for me, the dream evolved into not just rapping, but then directing because as an independent artist, music influenced me picking up a camera
Mm-hmm.
and documenting my own music videos. And then from
Yeah.
there, local artists started to ask me to direct their films and their movies and their videos. And so I was just like, well, I guess this is a new path and direction that's not taking away from the original dream, but it's adding to it. So you want to leave room for more. That's why when we say big picture, what is the big picture? The big picture is once the door is cracked open and you're able to get a little bit of that foot in there, you never know what other opportunities and what other doors are going to open up for you. So I think that's what worked for me. And it came from a place of never wanting to be comfortable. I
Mm,
always felt like I put myself in situations in my personal life and my career life where I never got too comfortable. And the moment that I did, it was just like, this is not making me happy. So what am I doing? You only got one life to live. So I felt that if I'm not living in a space of happiness, then there's something that I need to tweak and change. And I think we also forget that, it's not what the world does to you, it's what you do to yourself, it's what type of mental things you put yourself in a lot of times. And
definitely.
sometimes there are situations and environments that you come out of that are hard for you to combat, but I think that that's what becomes your life work. It's your life work, not everyone else's around you. You know what I'm saying? We all have traumas. We all have things that we've gone through as we go from childhood to adulthood, and you learn things. So I think that just knowing that you have to leave that room for learning new things. Always, I'm a student to everything that I do. I never stop learning or educating myself. But you always have to leave that room for growth.
Gotcha. And I want to focus on that right quick. When you talked about, it sounds like you like focusing on like basically make doing the right things for you, like wanting to be happy. And mental health is huge. And it had a bad reputation, especially in the black and brown African American black community, right?
Hmm.
But like it sounds like it's very important to you to make sure like, yo, I'm in a good space that not only is good maybe for my career and my pockets, but it's good for my mental space, right? It's like when
Hmm.
like how old were you? Not, you don't gotta tell your age or whatnot, but just like did you get to the point where you were like cognizant of that or aware, like, you know what, like, yeah, I want my career to be, I gotta be good here so I can thrive in these areas.
I think it goes back to, again, like that's something that's kind of in and out.
Mm,
There's moments in your life where it's going to feel like the road is smooth, and then there's going to be a hill to climb.
yeah.
And I tell people, if the journey was like this, what would you have to work towards, right?
Mm,
So the journey really is always going to be like this, no matter what level you are in your career. The key to it is to learn how to master it where it doesn't throw you off your game to the point where you totally throw your hands up and quit.
yeah.
See, the keys to success doesn't necessarily translate to monetary things, right? I believe the keys to success is determined upon how good you feel about yourself and your circumstance. Are you able to live and have a roof over your head? Are you sustainable? Are you doing the things that you need to do to keep your body healthy and keep your skin clear? Things like that, like, are you putting good things? Are you surrounding yourself with good energy? And so, that journey, though, going through those humps and learning how to go through those hurdles without it totally keeping you down,
Mm,
is a really big way that I use to navigate to my road and journey to what I feel is success. And of course, it's always evolving. It's always like, well, I did that. And I've always, as a child, been ambitious. And of course, I think that has a lot to do with my mother
yeah.
and my father. They were both very, you know, multifaceted people and intelligent in different ways. My father was good with electronics. My mother was good with creative, administrative, like day to day operations. So it's like I kind of got a melting pot of both of those within me. But I just wanted something different for myself. I really just wanted to live in my purpose. And a lot of people are probably right now wondering, well, what is your purpose and how do you find the purpose? And I think if you believe in a higher power, a lot of people may or may not, but I believe God plays a big role in me understanding that the creator created me and these gifts. I feel like everybody is born with a God-given gift in their
Mm,
own right. It's almost like a birthright, and you might not discover that birthright until you reach certain markers in your life. But it's about tuning into it. It's about understanding, like, when you see something, when you see opportunity or preparing for something that you want, so when opportunity comes, you're ready to take it on. And so that is, to me, kind of how I've handled hurdles. We
yeah.
all gonna go through challenges. The
Yeah.
challenges don't stop when you become more successful. You start making more money, you get more bills. You got to pay
Yeah.
more people.
For
So
sure.
a lot of people have this perception when you start making more money, you're living just freely, and you
Mm,
you are in a some sense, but we all have the power and possess the power of wealth consciousness, which a lot of people don't realize. It's all within us, but your real work is digging deep and really understanding, well, what is the passion and what is the purpose? What really makes me happy. I always tell people, if you want to find out what your purpose is, take a notebook, piece of paper, number it 1 to 10, and write 10 things down that you enjoy doing, whether it costs money to do or whether it's for free.
Yeah.
Because out of those 10 things, I guarantee from each of those things, there's a way for you to make money from it. If you like to read books, you can get a job, reading scripts for people and actually making money off of that. Or you can become an author. If you like to eat food, you can start a food blog. You can create your own cookbook recipe. You might be a great chef. So I think just when you think about it, it's a lot of stuff that people like to do that they're already in flow of doing. But once you create that awareness and you connect with that higher power, higher source within yourself, you really tap in a little bit more and things get a little bit easier. But the challenges will always be there, but it's about how you react to them. That's
Definitely.
what it is.
Definitely. And I like you said something like just so powerful how, so many times and we look at the world and how the world may make you feel like so many times we don't think we're a success until we get that. Like man, I'll be successful if I make more money. Or I'll be
Mhm.
successful if I get that. Or I'll be successful
Mhm.
if this amount. But understanding that if you get peace inside and are secure with where you are, secure in your insecurity, secure in your strengths, then that's success. And then even when you do gain, more money or more exposure, whatever the case, you
Mhm.
still gotta experience life. Like life is something that we
Mhm.
all experience, whether we got X amount of or we don't. And it's funny that you mentioned your parents because you're looking from the outside. That's exactly what I take from your parents. I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
Uncle Wayne, my boy, cut it up real quick, dance on you. He's so right. So that's y'all whole family like that. From you, Chris, Jock, Ashley, y'all will cut up a rug in a minute, right? The life of a
Mhm.
party. But then I think about how Auntie Jennifer was just always like I just feel like she had a vision, like was dreaming big and entrepreneurship and everything.
Mhm.
And I can see how it rubbed off in all of y'all, right? And so
Mhm.
that's just I think that's big, man. I even told Auntie Jennifer, what I'm saying recently, I think like last year, just like the amazing job I felt like she is and has done, and and her dad just like instilling great things in you all and just pushing you all. Your point too about like me being an educator, I'm telling kids like, yo, y'all can make money right now. Like whatever it is, like YouTube and gaming. So like I'm not a teacher that be like, oh, you got to go to a traditional college and did it. I'm like, no, what's your purpose, right? And so looking at your journey, you went to Dillard, right? So you're a Panther, and it was crazy. Like in our family, if you were going to Dillard or Deerfield, look like right, you
Right.
went to Dillard, which I think is a performing arts school, and did big things, right? And so from Dillard, you end up going to the Maryland Institute College of Art, which seems like you kind of knew your purpose in high school or you knew a passion of yours because you went
Mhm.
intentionally to an art school. So talk about why you chose the Maryland Institute College of Art. Why did you choose that?
What's crazy is I think it kind of chose me because even before I went to high school, I was in a magnet school and I was studying French, and I was like thinking I was gonna go do foreign studies or something like that. And then like a week or so before, that decision was made, I had a audition come up, and I was actually gonna go into acting, but I didn't know what a monologue was, and back then it wasn't like Google now. You can just type it in, and I didn't even have the foresight to be like, "Hey, mom, what's a monologue?" It was just like the words sound too long for me. I was
Yeah,
in eighth grade. I was like, I don't
uh,
even know what that is. I only have like a week to get a portfolio together. So I ended up auditioning for the visual arts program at the high school I went to, and I was born with the gift to draw and create with my hands. So that seemed like an easier way in. But what was crazy is I was entering high school with kids who have been in the arts since kindergarten magnet programs, and they were like amazing. So I was here and they were here when I was a freshman, and I failed so many times at just the basic fundamental skills. But what happened was I saw all the kids that were the top of the class, and I studied them, and I said, okay, this will be the last semester that I'm not winning the competitions, or
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
ask
yeah.
them questions. I made friends with the people that were smarter than me and more talented than me.
Mm.
And then they were offering free help, free advice to me. So I actually, out of those kids, was the only one that ended up going to art school on scholarship and, getting, the support to go to art school. And so I didn't know anything about the Maryland Institute College of Art. They visited our school, they saw my portfolio, and they were like, you should apply. And when I applied and got accepted, I had a different plan for myself. I was like, I'm going to stay in Florida and go to school. I was like, I'm applying, I'm staying local,
Yeah,
I just didn't know. I had never been past Alabama or Georgia. So once I got the call, it's funny because I applied to school in Atlanta and Florida, and I didn't get it. I got accepted, but I didn't get the scholarship support in Atlanta. But I got on a wait list in Florida, and I was like, how is that possible? So
yeah,
I was kind of forced. I was had to make a choice. So Baltimore was up. I had never visited Baltimore. I didn't know anything about Baltimore. I didn't even know where it was on the map. So, me and my mom, we flew out there. She's been to Baltimore. I always say she's been to Baltimore 2 times to drop me off as a freshman, then to come see me graduate. And that was it. Because now you think you're talking about, a mother raising 4 kids, and
yeah,
it can get expensive. It's not like, a lot of us in our communities, we don't have the money and trust funds to put our kids through school. So, it was just like taking it one day at a time. But while I was in school, I made friends with the cafeteria lady. So by my junior year, sophomore year, I ain't never had to pay for a meal.
yeah,
And then I figured out how to work my way into being a resident assistant on campus. So I have to pay for housing my final year of school.
mhm,
So, I just once I got to MICA, that's when I really, I guess, started learning more about myself and my creative path and my voice as a person in general, because I think that's what college really is about. It's like you can go to college and not know what you want to do in the long run. It's a social experiment. It's
yeah,
about learning how to socialize with people. And a lot of people that you meet in school, you actually end up building longer relationships. So later down in life, you never know where they're going to be. Like I have friends who have won Emmys and are writing for Emmy Award winning shows, directing Oscar winning films, and we went to school together. Some have started their own schools. So for me, college really helped me tap into the different elements of myself that I didn't have the chance to really explore. But specifically, art school was very instrumental in everything that I'm doing, because I didn't know then that the skills that I was learning I would be applying today. So that's really how I walked into that journey, and I'm glad that I did take that path, because it just opened more and more doors. Because leaving Florida and then going and experiencing cities like, New York, the Statue of Liberty was just something we've seen on television.
sure,
And
for
so
sure.
to actually go to New York and see the Statue of Liberty and then fly overseas and be in Paris, I was in 8th grade and wanted to go study abroad in Paris, but we had a budget. And then 2 years ago, I was able to get booked for a show, and I ended up in Paris one night, and I lived my best life that night. I was like, I'm going to catch this 80 euro Uber just to see the Eiffel Tower. I have to see this, just to see the Eiffel Tower. So I was literally in Paris for one night. And so it just shows you how big the world is. It shows you how big the world is. So had I not made that move to Baltimore, I went to college, I don't think I would have been as more cultured as I am now, because
Mm-hmm.
it definitely showed me more of the world.
Nah, definitely. I think you hit it on the head when you say college is a social experiment, and it's a guy played in the NFL, Fred Taylor. They got a podcast called The Pivot, and he says exposure leads to expansion, right? And
Mm.
sounds like exactly what you're saying, and it truly seems like you really understand the power of relationships, because it's like, hey, just because this is the lunch lady, look, if I get to know them, I'm saying how you doing, good morning. Next thing you know, they're giving me free food, or like you're saying, I'm getting to know the people in my class, and now they're doing great things, and you're doing great things, and I'm pretty sure you can collab with some people, and also I love, what I'm saying, hearing people's stories, because it just shows you like where I started and where I'm at, and like you dreaming about wanting to go to Paris, wanting to go to New York. That was a dream you had when you was younger. And sometimes what we dream happen right away. Look at you now, like you said, you was just able to go to Paris and had a show. You didn't just go to Paris, you had a
Mhm.
show. You know what I'm saying? Your dream was just to go, but you had a
Mhm.
show. So it's just like God be blessing us beyond measure. And so, speaking of New York, right? Speaking of New York, I remember I had to go speak to some kids in Baltimore virtually, and I reached
Mhm.
And you told me about how you had an internship for MTV. So how did you told me like you weren't living up there, didn't have a job, and then I
Hmm.
believe the internship was free, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
Yeah, it was
what made
unpaid.
that decision?
Yeah, when I was in school, there was, you could see emails. They're like, MTV was looking for interns, and it was literally like, you go to the mall and you throw that penny in the
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
It's just like throwing a penny. You got to throw those pennies out there and make a wish or take your shot.
yeah, for sure.
So it doesn't matter what your circumstances, you can figure it out if you want it bad enough. So at the time, I got accepted into the internship program one summer. It was like my junior year, and I didn't know how I was going to pay for housing, transportation, none of that. And it just so happened that my roommate had parents that lived in Jersey. And so they offered me to stay in their basement. And I had to learn how to live in the real world, understand how to get from Jersey, because Jersey's like neighboring to New York. So you can
Okay.
literally catch a train or a bus.
Yeah,
So every morning I would catch a bus that would take me to Port Authority, which is like a bus station in New York, central bus station right there, lands you in Times Square. And I was working, the internship was in Times Square. And so to kind of fund that, I took a job at a ice cream shop in Grand Central, which is a big train station in New York. So I had this weird duality of life where I was working at this like 9 to 5 scooping ice cream, and then the next day I'm in MTV seeing celebrities and stuff. So I had this like weird dynamic because I felt very not human when I was working in that space because of the way a lot of the people would treat you, especially being a person of color, and a lot of people who classism, and people who may be making more money, they look at you as less than when you're servicing them at
yeah,
that time. So it was a mental challenge to understand, even in that environment, what was the lesson to be learned. And the lesson for me was, well, this is not what I want to do. This is not how I want to be treated. I think that I can apply myself. If I can actually come to do this for someone for 8 hours, if I could scoop ice cream for 8 hours a day and make crepes and salads, then maybe if I put 50% of that start out into my own desires and dreams, then maybe I can move into more of a direction that's going to fulfill me. And that's where the shift started to happen. So by the time I went back to college, I knew that's not what I was going to do when I graduated. I would work 3 jobs or whatever jobs, but my goal was always to find something to balance it out creatively. So even if I had a 9 to 5, I was freelancing in the creative world. So I
yeah,
might have been doing a photo shoot assistant job for a magazine, or doing graphic design and logo designs for clients, my own clients, or working for a magazine company on the side part-time, even though that might not have been the highest paid job. Just getting that real world experience, but also building my own empire at that time. So that's kind of like what that experience is like. And then when I was at MTV, the funniest thing, when I got my evaluation as an intern, they said, the best thing that I could have done for myself, they said I was a great worker. Because at one point, I tried to network. I didn't even know what networking was, but I met Sway. Y'all know Sway,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
from the real Sway.
yeah.
And he was eating at lunch, and one day I walked over to him. I sat in front of him, and I was like, "Hi, I'm Kiki," and he was like, "Okay." He's like, "Why is this girl just sitting up, pulling up on me like this?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "Well, I'm an intern, but I want to be a rapper," And he was like, "Oh, they don't want to hear that." And so I was like, I didn't know what that meant, but I was late coming back from that luncheon, and I got in trouble because they was like, "Where were you? We needed you to work the door for this private
Yeah,
event,"
I got you.
because that's. And I was like, "Well, I was downstairs talking to Sway." It was like, "Well, that's not what you're here for." And then from that day forward, the rest of my intern, I showed up on time, and I overdid my job. But what the catch 22 was, when I got my evaluation, they said, in the future, if I do any more internships, I should work on networking and getting to know people. And I was like, "But I tried to get to know
Yeah,
Sway.
you
I
was
told
right.
him
You
not
was
to do
right.
that."
Yeah,
And I was like, little did I know that that was networking.
yeah,
So
I
that
got.
is networking is the quintessential part of this world, building organic relationships with people who may be or may not be in position to help you. Because if they're not in a position to necessarily actively help you, they may be in position to spread the word to someone who can help
Mm.
you. And so once I kind of mastered that understanding, I got it. I understood, like, okay, it's good to vocalize with people on some of the things that you're trying to do
Mm.
and know how to measure it and know when the right time.
Yeah.
I just interviewed Beyonce's mother yesterday. Well,
Eh,
two days ago,
yeah.
and it'll be airing tomorrow, actually, through Facebook, We the Culture, in partnership with Sundance. But
Okay then.
um, you
Hold on, you
know,
can't just blow pot. Come on, man. Like, hey, you can't just casually just say, yeah,
that's just
interview. But
a little teaser for those who are in the live. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. It'll be posted. But I got a chance to talk to her and her husband
yeah,
and the thing about it is they were saying so many things in that moment where I could have just been like, I'm this and I do this,
yeah.
and it, I restrained myself because you gotta know that the things it's already done. It's
Mm,
already done.
for sure.
You can't be thirsty. You can't be like this. You have to walk in a way where you know who you are, and
Mm,
when you open your mouth and how you carry yourself, people are gonna
yeah,
want to look deeper into who you are.
for
And
sure.
that's something that comes with time and getting comfortable with who you are. Because if you haven't gotten to that place of getting comfortable with who you are, it's gonna feel like that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But you also got to do your own work and keep your ship moving, even when you feel like other people's boats are moving faster than yours or
Mm,
moving in this direction. You got to still row your own boat because
yeah.
that's the people that continue and get to the finish line. Those are the people that make it to the finish line, because most people are subject to help you when you're helping yourself, and that's
Yeah.
the moral of that story.
No, no, for sure. I totally agree, and I think like so many times, we kind of like we feel like we're on the outside. No matter how much success we have, we're still on the outside of some situation, right? And so we like, hey, this is my opportunity. Like, look, I'm about to do. But the fact that you have awareness, right, and discernment to know, like, look, my job right now is to interview Beyonce's mother, right? This is my job. But what I do is going to speak louder, but I just got to execute this job, and God will do the rest and connect the dots on, future relationships or partnerships or, what I'm saying, projects that y'all can work on down the road, which is a blessing. Congrats to you. And so I'm going to segue into to what the, and so I wanted to make sure I start off by letting people know that, like, watching live or that's gonna see this on replay, like where you started. You know what I'm saying? Now I want to talk about like where you at though. Like, you feel me? Like what you doing, how you killing the game,
hmm
doing your thing. So now we talk about, like, you say you started out like artist, drawing, like artwork. That's what I knew growing up, right? So we see
hmm
a lot of athletes in our family that play football, basketball, different things, but we didn't see like a lot of like artists. And so that's what
hmm
cuz drew the Panther for Dilla. Oh, she drew that. It's like, oh, on the drum. Oh, okay, then cut. Nice. So
hmm
I knew about that. So what inspired you to like be an artist, and what do you have a favorite piece?
Well, like I said, I feel like the actual physical ability to draw is something that was hereditary. My dad, he doodled, and as children, I used to watch that,
Yeah.
and I knew I wasn't an athlete. Like, I tried, and I was like, this is not what I do.
Yeah.
I just always felt connected to culture and
Mm-hmm.
to just art, things creative, out the box. I was a very curious little girl. I was a very explorative little girl. I loved Disney films and musicals and stuff like that. So I felt like that was really the trigger for me. It was like, I had this one painting I did. I thought I was a child prodigy at one point. I did this painting,
Yeah.
and we had that painting for so long. And when I got older, I was in art school, in high school, and I was looking through a art history book and saw the painting that I had painted as a kid. It was Picasso's Girl Before Mirror. And all this time I thought I was this like genius painter, but it was really we had an assignment where we had to like basically repaint a replica of something.
Yeah. Yeah.
In like first grade I painted Picasso's Girl Before Mirror. So I would feel like that was one of my favorite pieces ever. I will always remember that piece for some reason. But now with my art, it's now translating in different ways where I'm like now working on custom clothing.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I'm doing right now is designing tour clothes for one of the top 10 DJs in the world, Steve Aoki. And, you know, it's been cool to see how, like, one seed was planted, but then, you know, other things grew from that. And that's why I
Mm-hmm.
say your dream can be big, but leaving that room for it to evolve, leaving that room for it to go in other places. It's like a tree. You know, when a tree grows up, the branches are going to spread out. It's not a, you never seen a one branch tree, have you?
Nope.
Even the most burnt down tree you probably seen never had one branch or
Mm-hmm.
one root.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at everything that I touch. It's like, you know, I might have started at this place and then it just continued to grow, and I just left myself open to learning and new experiences. You know, if a new experience came, there were many times that I got opportunities that I had never done before. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like my first real job in New York working for a magazine company was to do magazine spreads. I
Yeah.
had no experience in that,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a good paying job, and I said, well, I can do the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Way
I
to get
just
done.
dived in and learned. I was like, if you want to make that money, you're gonna learn. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you have the will, it will be done. If you have the will, it's
Yeah.
about having the will to do stuff, the desire. And so if you want better for yourself, it's nobody's responsibility but your own. You can't spend your whole life blaming things on everybody else, even though we all, like I said at the beginning of this conversation, have gone through these different markers in our lives that can cause trauma and give us
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mental health dilemmas and stuff. Some people, we deal with that every day.
Yeah.
So your real life work becomes understanding how to deal with that so that you can expand those branches out, you know. And I'm just a walking testimony of those
Yeah.
things because I've seen the bottom. I see the bottom every now and then. Like I said, the journey will never be straight. There's always going to be hurdles, but it's about how can you get through them with grace? How can you get through them and identify this is just a moment that's
Mm-hmm.
happening? Let me be still. Sometimes when I feel the most pressure, I do nothing. I say nothing, and I just allow myself to think, and then I make a move. And that's how it is because your mind will have you spinning if you don't learn how to control and understand and master that. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned in my adult life. I'm 37 now. The biggest thing that I've learned is mastering my thoughts and practicing mindfulness and understanding what you talk is what it becomes. Your thoughts become things. That is, I think, the biggest improvement in my life, and I see the results every day. And I also know how to correct myself when I am saying things that are not, you know, a reflection of the best way to talk to myself, you know. So really being kind to yourself and understanding how to know when to correct your thought patterns so that you can have a better circumstance.
Definitely. And I mean, like that thought, man. The power of the thought is just so important because I think like we all hear that voice, you know, in our minds, and you know, we all hear it. You know, whether you know spiritually say, you know, I believe like you know sometimes it's a voice maybe from the enemy, from the devil, or some people look at it, man, I just hear this voice, but this voice talks loud and it tells you all that you can't do, but it never tells you the truth. And so that's why I kind
Mm-hmm.
of like to yourself, like control the thoughts. I'm like, okay, what is it saying? Is it saying that I can't do it? Or that mean I can really do it? Because it wouldn't tell me the truth, right? So it's just like
Mm-hmm.
countering those thoughts, knowing that I can do it. And it's so powerful. And the thing about peace is not the absence of trouble or adversity. Like peace
Mm-hmm.
is being able to be still and keep your composure even when everything around you is not going well. So and it sounds like that's what you then grew and got to that point. Like even when I'm up here, even when I'm down here, I still got that peace. My peace ain't determined by
Mm-hmm.
how much is going good or how much not going good. So definitely,
Mm-hmm.
so shout out to you on that end. And I know I definitely one of my favorite pieces personally that I seen you do is the Baps piece. That
Oh
was
yeah, I
hey,
meant to. You know what? That was my favorite kid piece. But yes, I got some new stuff like the Bat piece, the Halle Berry piece.
yes.
That's definitely one of my
And they
faves,
can go
my
to
most recent
I
pieces.
went on tttheartist.com, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
TTTheArtist.com. I also got blacktopart.com, which is a new space I'm building out. It's like really about celebrating, you know, Black culture through the arts. So I'm a huge fan of pop art. As you can see, I love very colorful
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, vibrant.
And so, but during the time where pop art was popping, we didn't really see it reflected. We didn't see a lot of Black people
Mhm.
reflected in that movement. And so it's like reclaiming our own
Yeah,
history, our own artifacts, and
yeah.
celebrating them through pop art.
Nah, definitely. So I encourage you, right? I encourage you to go on tttheartist.com and all that dope fashion that she's taking her art and drawing and creating on the clothes. It's amazing. And then look at all them, what I'm saying, amazing pieces, right? So I love your name too, man. Like your name, TT the Artist, because it truly embodies everything, right? Because not
Mhm.
only can you draw, but you're into music, right? So
Mhm.
how did you, what I'm saying, when we talk about, no, let me go through the people that you didn't work with. This is just some of the people. So TZ Artist didn't work with some, like, this is just some of the people she didn't work with, right? So he didn't work with Rich Boy, Trina, Tiana Taylor. You don't open up for Wale, Life Jennings, right? J-Lo had, I said J-Lo, Jennifer Lopez has sampled her song, right? So you didn't have, you got music featured on a Super Bowl commercial, Insecure, right? Grownish, like, so tell us like about the journey as a rapper, as a music artist.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like even some of the first people you mentioned, like Tiana, like people don't realize I opened up for her when she came to Baltimore, like when I was just kicking off my career,
Yeah.
and also Trina. Like these are artists that I shared the stages with. They probably wouldn't even know, but you know, it really was just I was really, really hungry to express myself, and so when the music stuff started, it was like it really kicked in after college because I really just was focused when I was in
Hmm.
school on art and just getting out of school. But it was really like 2009 where I was like, all right, TT the artist. I put the artist because I always wanted to, you know, let people know I'm an artist first and foremost. So
Hmm.
you're not going to get nothing conventional over here. I never fit the status quo of the
Yeah.
female rap look, and I was cool with that. Actually, I learned that I learned today that that was just me understanding that my path was different and that I'm on a path to independency. I started my own record label, woman focused record label, Club Queen Records, 3 years ago. This year will be 4 years, and it's a label that I started to really answer to the inequalities that women of color and women experience in this music business, which is male dominated. So it's a movement that is woman focused, women led, owned by a Black woman, which is very rare that we see record labels that are owned by Black women, and it's
Hmm.
independent too. So it's like now we're in a day and age where they are trying to close the gap and bring more equality to opportunities for women, and so you're starting to see more women get in more executive positions at these larger companies and at these more mainstream labels. And so I just learned that maybe I was never meant to just be a signed artist. Maybe my
Hmm.
path was just to actually be my own boss and build up from there and work with artists in different ways. So my musical journey has been, to me, a very diverse one because I know even some mainstream artists who've never been overseas and performed in front of 50,000 to 100,000 people, who've never performed at Coachella and different music festivals. And so that was just the path that was carved out for me, and
Hmm.
I learned to appreciate those steps. I learned to appreciate those opportunities because as an independent artist, if anybody's in the live right now, shout out to everybody that's been here. That journey can be one that is very rocky. You sometimes you don't even know when you're gonna eat, when you're gonna sleep, sleeping on couches, trying to get to LA just so that you can meet someone that just might help you get to the next step. So I always tell artists when I work with artists, they come in bright eyed, and I never put nobody's fire out ever. I'm like, keep that passion, but understand you got to do the work. Like you are going to be the reason for your success. No manager, no tour, no lawyer, no tour agent, nobody can actually do the work for you, even when you get in the position. So make sure that when those opportunities come, you're just being diligent and doing your due diligence and educating yourself, not just as an artist, but on the business of your industry. That is how I empowered myself and give myself leverage and power because I can read a contract and I can know if a lawyer is getting over me or a person who's sending me the contract is getting over me. I took the time out to buy these books on Amazon, iBooks, can get a whole book about how to have a music career or start a record label for $3 now in your phone. So I always tell people, because a lot of people DM me and they ask me, how can I get my music out there more? How can I get my film to Netflix? And, it took me 10, 15 years to even get to that place.
Yeah.
But that's because I didn't really have nobody to just tell me, well, girl, just pick up a book, or girl, just keep. It was organic for me. I had the hunger, but everybody don't got that same drive. So if you're not a person that's gonna be out there talking to a bunch of people, you could be in your home on YouTube or on Google. Everything you ask me is on Google, and that's how I learn. And
Yeah.
people, I'm not being funny when I say that. It's just that I really just got tired of asking people questions and nobody giving me any answers. So I just did my own research, and now it's just opened up more doors for me. But I think it's important that this journey has just been a long, long, long journey, and it's still going. I'm still working. I'm
Yeah.
still here. I'm
Sure, no,
still
for sure.
here.
That's why I like I say, man, I love hearing people, you know what I'm saying, stories, and like you my family. So I'm not knowing every detail, but seeing your journey, knowing that it's no quitting you. Like, I don't care how many knows, cousin heard, she ain't gonna never quit. And I'm glad that you said that it took you 10, 15 years, right? To get Dark City Beneath the Beat on Netflix, like to get to that point, because we see people see you and they see you now, right? But they don't know what you had to do. Like you say, the couches you had to sleep on, the nights you had to go without food, how you had to go promote your own album, how you had to promote your own music. You had to, really literally get it out in the mud. And like you said, which is so powerful. I'm learning from my wife. My wife is like she's a self-educator. Like whatever she want to know, she gonna research. Me, I'm like, okay, I got it a little bit. Oh, let's go. I learn on the way. And so she just told me yesterday, she was like, I think we really balance each other like that. And what you're saying is like, yo, I got this dream. I'm trying to go to this next level. Let me do some education, self-educate myself. And the thing about it, like you said, organically, is that it's purpose in you to do what you're doing. You don't care how long it may take. You're gonna do it because it's in you. And I think sometimes we put clocks on our purpose. And it's like, yo, if it's your purpose, you're gonna do it organically. Like you don't gotta put no time in. If this don't happen in 2 years, I'm done. Like, nah, bro, it can happen tomorrow, or it can happen in 20 years. But are you in it for the right reasons? You know what I'm saying? So definitely salute to you on that and all the music, that you're doing. I definitely want to, respect your time and transition to your director. You've been a director, right? You love being in front of the camera, but you also did doing your thing as a director. We talked about Dark City Beneath the Beat. Like talk about that a little bit, and then also talk about your YouTube original, Noted with Alicia Keys and Untold Story. So if you could talk about those, I know you directed so much more, but if you talk about those,
Yeah. So just when I first got into film directing, like I said, music walked me into that door when I started doing my own music videos. And then Dark City Beneath the Beat was a passion project that I just, I hadn't had any film experience as far as educationally going to school for filmmaking, but I just was like, man, I done did music videos. Like maybe I can do a film, a documentary about something that influenced my work. So Baltimore club music and the community in Baltimore was a big reason why I became the club queen, or was able to have a successful career on club music, because I learned that when I was there and traveling through the world. So it was important for me to show Baltimore in a positive light, and the film can be seen on Netflix currently, Dark City Beneath the Beat, and it's a musical doc about the Baltimore club music and dance culture. And so it's just so much greatness coming out of that film, because it's actually bringing resources back to the city. It's putting a positive light on the good work and the hidden heroes in the community of Baltimore that are actually out there every day, living, working hard, trying to, make a better life for themselves. And that kind of connected me through so many ways. The music led me to film, and it also led me to, getting music on television and film. So that's how I met Issa Rae. And now I'm currently managed under her color creative brand, where we're developing, I'm developing my next project. But through that, I was able to meet Alicia Keys. I don't know how that happened. It was just the universe. I had an email from an email that I don't even check no more. It was like a 3-day-old email about an inquiry about me directing something for Alicia. So now that was a hard thing, like that was the biggest artist I ever worked with, thus far as profile. I'm talking multi-Grammy winning artist. And I had like 5 interviews, and it was just very nerve-wracking. And so many, I didn't know if I was going to get it because, she could have picked anybody. She could have picked any big-name director in Hollywood. But she must have saw something in me to trust me with her art and her vision, and we worked together. It was very collaborative, and it's out now on YouTube. It's called Noted, Alicia Keys, The Untold Stories. It's 4 episodes, and then if you have YouTube Premium, there's a bonus episode that actually shows the makings of the series. And so I would say that probably was a big moment, like one of my biggest moments last year. And it really opened a lot of doors up, again, going back to building those organic relationships, now I have that organic relationship with Alicia, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, who knows what can come out of that? And so I'm always in my mind, I have a vision of what I would like to see happen, but I don't even limit myself on what could happen. My mind could be thinking smaller than the reality of it all. So, yeah, I would say directing has opened the doors in so many ways. And it's also helped me connect a lot of the things that I enjoy doing, like music and art, because I get to use all those skills when I'm putting together a film or when I'm, creatively diving in and having to problem solve. I get to really tap in to things that, I've been doing for years and just put it all together and it's like one project or a film. So it's been a pretty cool journey. I'm excited about where it goes.
Definitely. And so I get excited because when I'm watching Insecure and I hear your song, right? I sent you the clip with my daughter, Jayla, just like turning up to I'm like, so we were just like, hold on. I was like, oh, that's cuz. She going crazy, you know. So and
I get those all the time.
You said what?
I get those messages all the time.
Yeah,
I was just watching the show, I heard you.
Yeah.
That's why I call myself the Queen of Sphinx, because I'm like, I'm in there. I'm trying to get on all the shows.
For real. And so it brings excitement to watch things like that, to watch Insecure, to watch Growing and Short, to watch the Super Bowl commercial and hear him. He's like, how does that make you feel? Like when you like watching the TV show, oh, that's my son. I seen the clip you were dancing to it the other, a couple of weeks ago. Like, how does that make you feel when you see that?
Well, the first thing I think is ching ching.
Hey,
another check.
Let's go. Get that money.
But it makes me feel like, there's something that I'm good at. And this is just one of many, but this is something I'm really good at. And I want to see what more I can do with it. So now I'm thinking about, pushing more of me doing sound composing for feature film soundtracks. Why stop at just getting 1 or 2 songs in a TV show? Why not executive produce a whole movie film score or a soundtrack? So a lot of people don't know I also produce and make beats and stuff. And so that's also on my to-do list. It's like now my narrative, again, going back to that big dream, now it's becoming bigger where it's like, we're not just talking about one song here and there. We're not talking about creating the whole sound experience for a movie you might see in a theater or a series you might see or music supervision.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where all that is now evolving to. It's just like one thing influences the other.
No, definitely. So like I say, man, you killing the game. Congrats on all of that. And I definitely, like I said, I want to respect your time. I know you got an early flight in the morning.
Back to LA. I'm in New York right now, so it's been so cold.
So you about to go back to shorts. Get to wear shorts.
Yeah, I'm going back to the sunny town of LA, where the
it.
palm trees is tall.
Nah.
Shout out to everybody that tuned in. I saw a lot of people shouting out. I was laughing on the inside. I see a lot of family in the room.
Definitely. What up? Yeah, you definitely got the podcast jumping today. I appreciate y'all for getting on and supporting TT the artist, man. Definitely. And definitely go follow her. Go to tttheartist.com. And I'm going to make sure I give her time at the end to just tell you where you can go find her. Last question. I just want to know, like, what's next? Like, what projects you got, whether as an artist, director, with the record label, which shout out to you, salute for doing that, man. Just, seeing that it's an issue in the music game and not saying to yourself, man, I made it, I'm good. But to say, hey, what I'm saying, I'm going to lift as I climb and open the doors for other women that look like you. So salute to you on that. So, yeah. So what's next for you?
what's next right now? I just shot my first short film that I wrote and directed, and so we're gonna be. It's called Ebony 8. It's a black sci-fi comedy musical. It'll be hitting the film festivals this year, sponsored by Google. So shout out to Google for believing in me as an artist, and just definitely more getting into the feature film space. I would love to see my films go into the theaters, and again, just like put the light on narratives that we don't always get to see, and art that we don't always get to see in the big, picture of things. Music wise, we're getting ready to drop the next Club Queen Records compilation, which is a collaborative project where we focus on putting women together to work together, more women, more power. And you can stream CQ1 and CQ2 on Spotify. Those numbers are going up as we speak.
That was up.
So we're going to be dropping that for March, Women's History Month. And, I'm just going to continue to try to live my best life, keep it positive, sending positive vibes out to everyone. It's just, great to have the support of, everyone. And, hopefully one day we'll be ringing in the millions, both of us.
Hey, I received that for real. I received that, and I definitely. I mean, I'm just proud, man. I'm a proud little cousin. And so many, our family members just, doing great things and inspiring us and impacting us, and paving the way. And we all, proud of you. And so I like that's why
Thank you.
yeah, it means a lot for you to be able to, just come on and bless the podcast. And I know I was blessed by things you said. So I know like fellow artists, people in general were blessed by the things you said. And I definitely want to just give you the last words. The last words, want to leave words of encouragement. Definitely tell the people where they could follow you, all your your tags and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to give you the last.
Y'all can definitely follow me at TT the Artist on all platforms, Facebook. If you can't find me, you can Google TT the Artist, my website. It leads you to all the right paths. My last thoughts of the day is just keep dreaming, keep doing, continue to bless others, and take care of yourself and be kind to yourself. That's the most important thing. Take care of yourself because you can't service others if you're not servicing yourself. So you are like a vessel, you're like water, you're like, if you are a light in the room, a lot of things are going to gravitate towards you. And so your life becomes about being strong enough to handle those things. So you got to make sure that you're replenishing yourself and making sure that you're doing right by yourself so that you can have the mental capacity to deal with everything else. And remember to set your mornings. I think the mornings are the most important parts of the day, whether you pray, meditate, read a book, drink some coffee, but take time out for yourself. You might even be with a loved one. Like take time out for yourself to set your morning because that's really important, and that I think is what really works for me. So keep it positive, keep the vibes out there. Thank you for everybody that tuned in. Shout out to my cousin. I'm proud of you. So anytime you need me, I'm a phone call away.
Hey, now I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Appreciate everybody that jumped on and watched, man. I hope y'all enjoyed this great video, the great podcast episode with TT, the artist doing great things. She got with Beyonce dropping tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow tune in. We the Culture Facebook. I got a chance to talk to Miss Tina Knowles. That was definitely a bucket list thing for me. I'm one step closer to Queen B. You feel me?
Is one call away.
One call away. My Virgo sister.
Hey, hey, keep up the great work, though, man. Hey, everybody continue to wake up, striving to win on purpose. Be intentional about winning, man. And y'all have a blessed day. Safe travels, cuz. I love you.
Thank you. Love you too.
All right, now.
Peace.
Yeah.